just be the table of contents. Quick glimmer insight. The tablatura contiendo. A. Arisal of nucleotides. The ideas, synapses existing on a subatomic ocean of perceptive capacity flood the senses in ecstatic waves of dots of actual necessity breathing through metamorphosing mandalic arrangements of framework plausibilities. B. World tracers. The etchy sketching of these possibility vapors that exist on the threshold of universal unconsciousness are nebulous ecular phases that leave tracers that accumulate repetitious imagery based on the highest sync rate of possibility patterns. C. Absolute armory. The individual self as the creative impulse is the threshold magnetic suture device, which is both wounding functionally and embalming energetically. Use of this perspective castrates universal capacity and melds the self-perception into a pocketed alibi of theoretical arrangement. D. Confusion matrix. Reality as it stands in the letters of man are leaky ships, and the ocean of unconscious fills the labyrinth of human brain tissue. Overwhelming experiences threaten to drown the conceptual selves. It is possible to use the confusion matrix as a control room by modulating fear and desire in search of puzzlement. E. Definite aftermath. Should dearly held imaginary selves drown in the flooding of the unconscious, the pineal gland will light the brain up with rainbows in honor of the survivors. The profound bliss experienced by these survivors can either set the groundwork for an egomania that will rupture the brain once more and slowly lessen the capacity for survival of the human, or it can humble them as they realize they too are only an imaginary possibility which reality may sooner or later prove illusory. F. Wellsprings of determination. Should a critical mass of imaginary selves reach enlightenment, that is, to realize themselves as creations of the rainbows broadcast by the pineal gland, then the ego itself will become a conductor of rainbow symphonies. By learning to work with the waters of the unconscious, these imaginary selves become wellsprings of determination. The aftermath is definite, the universe is determinate. It will show you what is real or more survivably imaginable, but anything is possible. Manifesting higher possibilities through accepting the ground of greatest tangible coherence of potential.
G. Farthing squiggles. Worms are sperms in the ovium that is round Earth. Electromagnetic squiggles serpents to human beings. Everything is just wiggles. With wiggle room comes the laughing lizard. Sparks fly when the flesh is let to melt into the field of consciousness. Every cell and atom communicate. Electricity is the infrastructure/highway nervous system of the universe. All life forms in radical possibility spirals. Every life form is a center of imaginative attention.
Reflections on Mythos. H. We take the skins from things in our minds and hang them in a closet to remind ourselves of their existences. Some of these skins form tubes through which electrotyping flows. The territory of imaginary landscapes is mapped in the skins of the things humans consume, and the unconscious electrical watery wind animates the shells thereof. I think, I feel, I see, I am. The mammalian organism in particular appears as a kind of gelatinous form of water that is on fire. Light passes into the water in the form of heat, food, light, water, and energy. This causes the water to burn, in burning off the light in its audacity to remain water. The fire can be nothing other than fire, and is this yin-yang which creates and crystallizes rainbows into mammals. J. Playthings of the poltergeists. The universal order is a kind of haunted mansion, any living vessel which is, as it is, the skin of an autonomous chemistry of rainbows, fires, and waters, oceans, necessarily through its floodgates naturally accumulates residual artifacts of consciousness. The way in which the hierarchy of a mind is haunted by its collective memories is controlled via higher mind vampires and poltergeists akin to vultures and scarabs, scavengers of mimetic archetypal content. They feed on excess flow, but left unchecked can drain the human capacity. Recognitive reflection on this imagery will trigger in some users a kind of sync by which the extraction and manipulation of art from dogma will create new thresholds of reality. K. The castle of mental programming. This is where those who move from the haunted house come to know their own ghostly nature. Since everything experienced in or as a body, mind, soul is a residual data resurrections of memes, archetypes, as skins caught in the tidal ebb and flow of the static ocean of the possible unconscious. A being, from this perspective, creates patterns of love and understanding on the tracer map, knowing that the flow of the ocean regenerates itself as art. L. Fractal collapses. All the tracers sent out from inception became to be known as fractals, in the way in which the fabric of interlocking shifting points causes energy to bend in its radial journey. These fractals practically collapse to recreate the ground of memetics. Radially, intention and imagination itself expands fractally at the same time that it collapses fractally, breathing. The new common ground of the world is recreated in every fractal atomic galactic breath. Master mind control. From the perspective of the grid or the labyrinth itself, another control room. N, the 7 fingers of wishful thinking. The 7 rays of intention in the human organism, which trace rainbows into the flesh of time-space. O, data manipulation interface. This blueprint practically zooms into any point of the universal unconscious ocean of static possibility. This is where the tracer blueprint god's thumbprint electrostatic charge shroud of Turin that is emblazoned cloak of any imaginary being can be viewed down to the very stitches. With this tool, data can be unlocked for the purposes of art. P. Field modulation exercise. Through brainwave and biorhythm modulation, the cells of the human body rainbow tracer emissions can likewise be modulated. R. The standing village of the alphabet. The Word of God is the flesh as well as the spirit that animates it. Every human symbol is a reflection of the divine hypocrisy, Luciferian meltdown, and resurgent phoenix conflagration. This is also where sex comes from. Originally, each alphabet is a village of living beings who are essentially so prototypical that they can superficially stand in as vast arrays of meanings, a kind of corridor of skins which alludes down a journey to original meaning. The divine ego Lucifer is the lantern holder wayfarer through the labyrinth that leads to God the Word. The wave of meaning. Have you ever wondered why it is that we wave hello and goodbye? Just as the labyrinth of knowledge is furnished in skins of possible meanings, it is the wave of unconscious watery electrical wind, also known as the spirit, that animates the hallways of the mind and temporarily resurrecting the imagery therein before returning to source, the fractal embodiment of which is the pineal gland broadcast center. T. Whole face. Faces are words also known as masks, but they represent absence as much as presence. Every face has a hole by which it feeds itself to maintain its facehood. This could be said to be the gravity by which personas etch themselves into the fractal map, and cause memories to gain velocity in the mimetic breeding grounds. You, eating, drinking. Absorbing physical manifestations of life as well as spiritual, breaking open, extracting meaning from words which are shells, the battle between the digestive processes of the body and the foreign content, which is food, the cause of water heating to bubble, I bubble egos, popping other bubbles, imaginary selves dissolving, the body as a process of boiling in metachemical intercourse with freezing. V. Extrasensory release valve. The relief of bubbles popping. Ego death causing spontaneous arousal of extrasensory perception. In the process of fermentation, the surface bubbles to release gas. The sun, as well as the atmosphere, are gaseous bodies. The wind is a process of gas. This is why farting is called both breaking wind as well as passing gas. W. Pulling around the bend. The rainbow gas of psycho-spiritual atmospheres can be modulated through breathing exercises on physical as well as metaphysical levels. Surrender to the tidal rhythm of possibility smooths and evens the process of spiritual digestion and integration. X, opening. Y, splitting. Z, the spit of the spirit board, who stole your egg soul from its captors. Alpha and Omega, you're just an egg, in ecstatic exodus. The spit drips from the spiral arm of the mirrored Milky Way, reflecting the life journey. Starship Home is the sun, of which all life on Earth and all the planets are the manifest content thereof. It's light, a light born of digestion, Ouroboros. Set free from the nest, humanity fell from the tree. The egg broke open, all the yolk will flee. But you won't count me, the imaginary is the whole. Holes in the ground, making sound, earth voices.